Next, after your pituitary gland, let's move on to your thyroid gland. It is a butterfly-shaped gland below your larynx and situated on the right and left sides of the trachea. The two lobes is connected by a smaller band called your isthmus. Your thyroid gland is made up of spheres of cells called your follicles, or the thyroid follicles, or follicular cells, in which they produce and secrete the thyroid hormones, your T3 and T4. Your parafollicular or C cells that lie between the follicles releases the hormone calcitonin. Your thyroid gland is regulated by the hypothalamus that will release your thyrotropin-releasing hormone that will stimulate the anterior pituitary gland to release the thyroid-stimulating hormone. The thyroid-stimulating hormone will stimulate your thyroid gland to release the T3 and T4 hormones. Proper amounts of iodine causes the thyroid gland to effectively produce its hormones and to function properly. One hormone is thyroxine, also known as your tetraiodothyronine, which contains 4 iodine atoms that is abbreviated as your T4. The other hormone is your triiodothyronine, which contains 3 iodine atoms that is abbreviated as your T3. These hormones regulate the metabolism of the carbohydrates, fats, and proteins for normal growth and development, as well as the maturation of the nervous system. They cause an increase in the rate of carbohydrate and lipid breakdown into energy molecules. Low levels of thyroid hormones can lead to hypothyroidism. In young children, this can result in a condition known as your cretinism. Again, the function of your thyroid hormones is for the metabolism of the carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, as well as for the growth and development of the tissues, as well as the maturation of your nervous system. So if there's decreased thyroid hormones, the child can manifest mental retardation and does not grow in normal stature. So this is a picture. In adults, this condition results in a lowered rate of metabolism, causing sluggishness, being too tired to perform daily tasks, and accumulation of fluid in the subcutaneous tissues. You will have a condition known as your mixed edema. So this is an image. So the patient will manifest dry, coarse, or sparse hair. There will be lateral thin eyebrows. There will be periorbital edema. There would be a puffy, dull face with dry skin. Too much secretion of thyroid hormones causes hyperthyroidism. This results in extreme nervousness, fatigue, and an elevated rate of body metabolism. Graves' disease is a type of hyperthyroidism caused by overproduction of thyroid hormone. It is associated with an enlarged thyroid gland, or the goiter, or the bulging of the eyeballs known as exophthalmia. This would be the differences in the signs and symptoms of patients with hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism. So in hypothyroidism, there would be hair loss and receding hairline. There would be facial and eyelid edema. There would be thick tongue, therefore they will manifest slow speech. They have dry skin, and they have constipation. While in patients with hyperthyroidism, they have fine straight hair. They have bulging eyes, or your exophthalmos, facial flushing. You have enlarged thyroid, or your goiter. You have increased diarrhea. So the main difference would be hyperthyroidism patients, they have intolerance to cold, while patients with hyperthyroidism, they have intolerance to heat. Besides secreting those 2 thyroid hormones, the parafollicular cells of the thyroid gland secrete a hormone called your calcitonin. This hormone lowers the calcium and phosphate ion concentration of the blood by inhibiting the release of those ions from the bones and by increasing the excretion of those ions by the kidneys. You have 2 bone cells here. You have your osteoblast, which are your bone building cells, and your osteoclast, which are your bone eating cells. Upon performing the function of your osteoclast, by breaking down the bone matrix, it will release calcium in the blood. Your calcitonin, the main function of your calcitonin is to lower the calcium concentration in the blood. So your calcitonin will stimulate the function of your osteoblast, building or increasing the bone matrix, making the bone more sturdy, and inhibiting the function of your osteoclast. Next, in order to decrease the calcium concentration in the blood, your calcitonin will inhibit the absorption of calcium in your intestine and will promote the excretion of those ions by the kidneys through urinating it. So, by promoting the osteoblastic activity and increasing the excretion by the kidneys, the calcitonin will effectively lower the calcium in the blood. Here is the summary of the thyroid gland hormones. First would be your T3 and T4. They are responsible for the metabolism of your carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. They are essential for growth and development of tissues as well as the maturation of your nervous system. Your calcitonin, so basically it lowers the calcium and phosphate concentration in the blood.